Hey guys, what's up? It's Halsey Schider with the Helicopter Podcast. It is day 3 in Europe, and we are feeling spunky and excited. It's been a busy 3 days, but I am excited to be podcasting here bright and early from Amsterdam, and really excited actually to have some friends on the podcast today. We have Cornell and Daniel. Our paths have crossed now for the last couple years, at least.
Yep.
Obviously, I'm part of the sales broker world. That's my real job. Podcasting is just the side hobby.
That's your work in the light. Brokerage is in the dark side.
Yeah, but we have Cornell and Daniel with Swiss Premium now, and that's kind of the big launch and the big exciting thing for you guys. But I also very familiar with Pacific Arab.
Yep.
The other brand, of course, that you guys are very well endowed. And what's the other brand that we're representing as well?
So Danny's company, Centaurium Aviation, and the group. Basically the IR for Switzerland, but I think you can tell us more about that.
Yeah, thank you. So we started many years ago with operation, so a helicopter operation. We stopped operation, then we started all services turning around, flying, so compliance management. We are IR of Bell Helicopter. We have our own MRO, compliance management, insurance, everything that turns around. And that was quite obvious. We will have contact with you guys, Pacific Air Hub, so number one in helicopter brokering.
Well, let's not go crazy.
Yeah.
Number one.
Yeah, for sure. This is number one. Worldwide. Worldwide.
Man.
Always like,
Yeah.
Jeez.
Now,
Thank you, Danny.
it's your turn. Take over.
Look, this is a unique. Well, one of the things that people ask me a lot about my profession is, who are the competitors? And obviously, you guys are competitors, right? You guys do what I do. And I have many other competitors.
Sure.
But the good thing is, and at least with the right competitors, you can actually work together.
Oh, yeah.
And you can do more together than not, right?
Oh, absolutely.
And so there's some brokers and there's some people in the industry that don't want to collaborate, and there's others that do. And I always like to work with people where everyone can win, where there's an equitable deal on both sides. And so, I agree. I think Pacific Air Hub and now Swiss Premium, fantastic brands, fantastic people behind the brands, which is really the most important part. Worldwide reach, global reach. And for someone like us at Helicopter, U.S. based, it's so great to have the contacts in Europe, in South Africa, New Zealand, Australia. It just really opens up the market for us, right? We don't have to be so singular.
Yeah, that's right.
So for us, Cornell, obviously I've known you now for a couple years, but I don't actually feel like I know you. I don't really know much about you. I don't know your background. I'm just curious to kind of hear your story of getting into this business and how that happened.
Yeah, so, aviation is a funny thing. Those who know. Once you're in it, it will never let you go.
100%.
And for me, it started, I think, I'm actually getting goose flesh just thinking about it. I think I was 5 or 6 years old. And we had a medical emergency. So across from our, let's call it small farm, the neighbor's child fell into the pool. Didn't know what was happening there. All I just remember is this huge helicopter landed in a field right next to my house. And from that day on, it was over.
That's crazy. Very similar to me, actually.
Really?
Yeah. So I was growing up, we lived on a kind of a quiet neighborhood, but we were right off the busy road.
Yeah.
And this guy tried to pass, and it's a very narrow 2-lane road. It's not a passable road. You shouldn't be. And he was in a VW van, right? So no protection up front. So he tries to pass head on with a lumber truck, actually, so a big truck. And I was little, 5, 6 years old, home from school for whatever reason. And man, the noise, the impact was so loud.
Yeah.
And long story short, they took 6-7 hours to get him out. And a helicopter. I lived across from a cemetery, actually. and I think it's hard because I was like 5 or 6, but I'm pretty sure like a Long Ranger.
Oh, yeah.
Like in which Life Flight Network, who's in the area, used to operate back in the day, landed in the graveyard there, put him in the helicopter and flew away. And just like you, I was like, what?
No.
Like, what was that?
Yeah, exactly.
That's incredible. But then I got into aviation on the fixed wing side. Mm-hmm. And I never thought really like helicopters were for me. I thought you had to go to the military.
Yep.
I didn't know there was a civilian pathway. I remember though flying, I think I was probably 17, maybe 18, flying in a Cessna 152. And all I wanted to do my entire life was fly. And I'm flying in this 152 and I'm thinking, oh man, this is boring. Like, uh-oh, this sucks.
Yeah.
And I heard a helicopter on the radio, and I'm thinking, I bet that guy's having a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And just, by happenstance, I ended up taking a demo flight, I think when I was 18, 19 years old, and
Oops.
and got into the helicopter industry.
Yeah.
But I'm so glad. So what was then your from 5 years old, you're seeing the helicopter, you get bit with the bug. I agree, it happens early for most of us. What happens next?
Well, to fast forward it, so then went on, finished school. You see that you had that little glimmer of light back then, it sparked the interest, but it was never, you didn't really, like you say, where do you go next? How do you get into this? And I finished school. I wanted to go become an airline pilot, and my mom said, no, you first need to go to university study as a backup. Maybe, something goes wrong and you got something to fall back on, which sounds like, good advice. And then I went and I started studying law.
Okay.
Man, I hated it. And then one day, fortunately, a family friend was one of my lecturers, and I flunked some subject so bad. She called me and she says, what are you doing here?
Yeah, this isn't for you.
She's like, what are you doing here? I said, I'm just here to get the degree and get out and you go fly. She says, listen, just go home, man. If you don't really want to be a lawyer like you want to fly, this is not for you. You won't make it. I said, thank you. That's all I need. So, so then I went home, but then I spent all the tuition money for flying, and then I started selling T-shirts. So I kept the contacts at university. We started a T-shirt printing company. T-shirts, tracksuits, sports gear, all of that stuff. Did that for a couple of years. Then she sold that to now an ex-business partner. And the problem there is that my office ended up being like on a helicopter route. So every 2 minutes, I'll have some sort of helicopter buzzing the office.
Teasing you.
Yeah, it's crazy. And sunny days, I pull my desk out of the office. I sit on the veranda just to see the helicopters because I'm running outside all the time.
I like that.
Yeah. Then I left, started my private pilot license. Went into my instructor back then left the company where I did my training. Started his own business. Convinced me to get out of the T-shirt world and come and work for him. Did that for a short while, then got, I think, a first big break with a big operator in South Africa to come and run, first of all, safety quality, then flight operations for a few years. And then ended up at Airbus. Became the sales manager for Africa and loved it. And from there on, left that tight corporate structure. Exploring a way where we could maybe better serve the end user with quicker facilitation with trading and all of that stuff, because the OEMs can do it, but it takes a long time.
Sure.
You know? And then went into the private brokerage business, and then worked in parts for a little bit, and then started Pacific Arab. Sort of, I think it was just before just after COVID. Just after COVID.
Same.
Just after COVID.
Mine was actually right before COVID. I decided, I didn't want to fly air medical anymore.
Yep.
I didn't like getting up in the middle of the night. And I was selling aircraft, but it was very much a side hustle. And so I wasn't really making a ton of money, but I was making, kind of extra beer money.
Yeah.
And I thought, man, if I concentrate on this and do it full time, then maybe I can do it all the time.
Yeah.
And so I quit that. And I think 2-3 weeks later, boom, the world shut down with COVID. And I'm like, oh. But then it actually presented an opportunity because a lot of people want to sell. Everyone was so scared. First thing they want to do was sell. And then interest rates dropped. People want to buy, and it became very busy. So it actually kind of worked out, timing wise. I'm curious, obviously I'm familiar with your partners there, Pacific Air Hub, mostly Dan.
Yeah.
But and Nico, of course. I love
Nico,
working with Nico.
Call us Nico.
It's funny. And that's actually really the cool part about helicopter brokerage to me is just this international aspect, this idea that we can facilitate transactions globally. We do it through our partnerships and our friends, right? And being able to work together. Like, how do you, for Americans, especially me, I'm from Oregon, right? I don't think Oregon could be further than South Africa, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's...
Yeah, no, you're almost exactly on the opposite part. Just if you go a little bit further to Hawaii, you're exactly on the other side of the planet.
To me, I feel like that's a different world. And so this idea that I'm able to have guys like Nico and guys like you that I can rely on, that I can trust, and that I can know or have the same moral compass, the same ethics that I have, to put a helicopter in a container, first doing a pre-buy, of course, going through everything, and then shipping it across the world. And now the helicopter's been generating revenue for my client, and it's a great working asset for him. Bringing aircraft in with you guys from Australia, and so it's such a neat thing to be able to have the global reach and to be able to have those global contacts. Because for me, I mean, look, you grow up in Oregon, you don't think you think small almost, right? So to be able to feel like you're doing something big is really neat. How did the relationship with Dan and Steven and all that occur? And kind of who spurred this idea of hey, let's start a brokerage?
Thanks to our sponsor, Airbus. Airbus provides the most efficient helicopter solutions to its customers who serve, protect, and save lives and safely carry passengers in demanding environments. Its civil and military helicopters are flying all over the world, making missions possible. Visit airbus.com for more information.
Yeah, it's great. It's a classic story actually. So Steven was at a very renowned brokerage at the time, and did a huge deal with an American EMS operator, and got a huge mandate to offsell a lot of their machines. And he went there, came back. Well, first of all, I've met Steven at the shows. All the trade shows we go around. You meet, and back at the first proper helicopter company I worked with, Steven was still at Airwork.
Okay.
And just after they brought out that super duper 850 upgrade for the BK117, so we bought the first 2 of those machines in Africa. And so I met Steven back then, and then obviously went to Airbus and kept comms. And then one day, it was sort of the last year of COVID, I think. He phoned me one day and he says, "Hey man, he's technically out of a job because they had a technical. They agreed on how to execute this contract for his client, and his company has just been taken over by some other conglomerate, and they didn't agree how the how the contract was written, and then he said, okay, well, I'm going to leave. And then his boss said, okay, well, cool, you can finish on Friday. And that was like, oh. And I remember it was in the middle of our winter, very early morning, my phone rang, and I would normally not answer Stephen, like at 5:30 on a Saturday morning.
Yeah, what are you doing?
Yeah, like, hey, thanks for the call, what's up? And I took the call. And he said, hey, man, what's happening? He's, long story short, out of a job. I said, hey, man, maybe this is our gap. Let's do it.
Sure.
And we've got a fantastic digital marketing agency who's part of our team. And I picked up the phone. I gave Warren a call and I said, hey, man, I think we're going to do this. Let's go. And I'm telling you, within, I think it was a week, we had our first concepts done of the brand. And I still have that WhatsApp group open on my phone.
Awesome.
I never closed it, where all we, change this, do this. No, I don't like that color. And then we kicked off. Took some convincing to let Stephen know that our marketing guys can do the job, because he never dealt with guys like that before. And we were fortunate to have, I think we had a mandate from ADAC, just right time, right place to sell off most of the old EC1 45C2s and 135s. There was like 10 or 20 helicopters.
Wow.
Man. And we started the business with that.
That's awesome.
And then we were just fortunate because that went to the US, stacked 5, 6 at a time. And then the rest is history. Then Dan was at the same company Stephen was with. I think he joined us a year later. We made him a partner as well. And it's just been great. I don't think we've up to today ever had a topic where we have not agreed on, because it's pretty simple, right? We're 3 guys,
yeah,
and the ruling is to agree if the majority rules, right?
Sure.
And we never actually had a thing where we had a vote 2-1.
Yeah.
What's it? Well, whys, pros, cons. Okay,
yeah,
good.
you work through it.
Yeah, and we do it, and then it just blew up. I mean, we really polished a hard work ethic during COVID.
Yeah.
There I realized that you can really do 18, 20-hour days because you can't go anywhere. So you're sitting in your office on the phone, searching, emailing, calling all around the world. And then that call it 6 to 12 months of just doing that just accelerated the growth.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah, and we've been fortunate to keep that ethic through the group now. I mean, it's really hard work. We've got some pretty amazing people in our team. We're very fortunate, and it would definitely not have been possible without them. We've got guys who's really working 18 hours a day. You can pick up the phone anytime, any place in the world where you are. You can phone HQ and you can get the support you want.
I mean, it's an incredibly difficult business. So, I can speak from experience, obviously, and it's rewarding. It's fun. It's exhilarating.
Oh yeah.
But man, it can be a doozy.
Oh
right?
yeah.
It can.
It's cat and mouse.
You can get kicked pretty hard. I often kind of feel like a broker is a punching bag, And I even had a conversation with a friend. Really, a lot of my clients I consider friends.
Yep.
Some, they don't always become friends, but for the most part, that's just how we treat. We're a small company, and we like working with people that like working with us. And I presented an offer actually on an airplane just yesterday to this guy, and he's like kind of chirping me about it, and I just had to remind him, like, look, I'm not making the offer.
Yeah.
I'm relaying. This is the offer, and here's my suggestion on how we should proceed with that offer.
Yeah.
And so sometimes it's like you kind of feel like, everyone needs an outlet, right? A buyer needs to complain about something or be mad at something. A seller may feel the same way, and so they kind of have to punch you a little bit. So there's a lot of that. You have to have thick skin. Not everyone in our business plays fair.
No.
So, you got to really choose your friends wisely.
Yep. And keep them.
and keep them,
Keep them.
and grow those relationships.
Absolutely.
It's so important. So, Danny, how long have you been then in the helicopter industry?
Well, I think it started similar like you guys. Kid, helicopter landing, virus, lifelong.
Yeah,
So-
yeah. That's
the short version.
That's the
of-
first.
Yeah.
That's the first helicopter COVID. That's the first virus,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. With any chance of getting healed. so no. I was always excited also about flying, especially helicopter. Starting with remote helicopter, very
very cool.
unsuccessful.
Same. My poor dad. My parents. They're great parents, wonderful people, gave me a great life. But they're hardworking blue collar folks.
Yep.
I wouldn't say that they're beyond wealthy or anything like that,
Yep.
right? It was they worked hard,
Yep.
and so. But man, my parents spent a lot of money on me, and in my early days, they spent a lot of money on remote control helicopters that lasted about 30 seconds. Very hard to fly.
So then you were already very good, so it's quite a good
I guess.
time.
Okay,
Yeah,
fine.
you
I
get
lied.
better. 30,
10 seconds.
10,
Yeah.
30, 45. We're up to 1 minute now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, next one.
Yeah,
Yeah, thanks, Mom. Thanks, Dad. I appreciate it.
yeah. That was the history, and then I did my study. I studied medicine.
Okay.
Then emergency medicine was always my passion, and easy. Then you land behind in the helicopter, and then I found out, no, I want to sit in front. it's that is my place.
It's
to
more
be.
fun.
Yeah, it's more fun. But then I stopped also a long time flying, practicing medicine, and turned 40, 45. The virus got back very
Seriously.
seriously, and I start flying also fixed wing, and so suddenly you are in the business. You start brokerage, and then we developed really our Centaurum Aviation. As I said, we never got into the operation, but only offering all kinds of services around.
I honestly think that's smart, by the way.
Yes.
Operating helicopters, especially if it's your first offering, is usually something that doesn't work. I mean, helicopters it's difficult.
It's
And
difficult.
It's a tight margin on the operations side. I look around this expo here and I see all these operators and I say, good on you. You can have that, because that's not a business I'm personally interested in. I think the service, the MRO, the parts, and the brokering, I mean, I think lower margin, it's a little bit of a better path, in my opinion.
Absolutely. So all operators on the market, and when they can remain on the market, so they're doing really a good job. And our goal was really to support them with our services, and so this company grow, and in 2018 we became IR from Bell, and for Switzerland, and knowing that Switzerland has the greatest density of helicopters worldwide.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, we are a small country, so number-wise, it's not huge, but
10 helicopters.
no,
Airs
no.
or not.
Yeah, exactly. For that small piece of land,
Yeah.
you know.
But
Yeah, that's
we
cool.
really have a lot of operations, especially in the mountainous
totally.
area. Do aerial work, a lot of aerial work in wood, and also construction is done. The EMS for all the fantastic ski resorts. So this is quite a big business, and we are in there and supporting also these operators.
Incredible.
And with Bell, we have really a good partner and good products to be able to be on this market. But we also saw that a lot of people, especially also private customers, they have also an evolution in flying and also with the products they use. So we offer them new Bell helicopters, and often they have already a machine, and was always the problem, what do I do with my machine? Can you help me? And then we started brokerage. So first only exceptionally, you don't like it as you want to sell a new helicopter and don't want the old.
Yeah, new is easy.
New is always much easier. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And when we met,
Feels
don't
like a
know.
lifetime ago. But,
lifetime ago, deal, Cornell involved. I said, oh, a guy in South Africa. Can this?
It's true. I mean, look,
Yeah.
I had to say honestly, when I first started with Nico, I felt the same. I mean, look, you just, again, when you're not from that part of the world, you have kind of some misconceptions sometimes.
Absolutely. And then, no. Hey, when do you want to see the helicopter? I come to Austria. Tomorrow, okay. Tomorrow, okay. So
Boom, see you there.
Boom. He was there, having some beers,
What
doing
was
a
the-
big
what-
deal.
What
doing-
kind of helicopter?
Oh man, was the fastest, biggest deal, shortest time.
Love that.
Yeah. So
Those are
really
my favorite.
easy, just handshakes.
Handshake, bro.
Really
Handshake.
paper, maybe 10 pages for 4 helicopters, 4 helicopters.
Wow.
Handshake deal with
He came to buy one, and we ended up doing a deal with 4 machines.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
that.
And that's how we started. So that's very important. That's also why these exhibitions here are so important. At the end, you can do a lot with digital marketing. You can do a lot with good platforms. But at the end, it's important to see the people and to be present and to have a good relationship. Then it can work again digitally, but also here at the exhibition, the most important thing is to see the people, to feel the people and to speak one-to-one to the people. And that's what happened to us. And since then, rocket-wise, we started this business. And especially now the new entity, the Swiss Premium Aviation Brokerage, is really that business we do with these pre-owned helicopters coming from customer, buying a new helicopter. And at Swiss Premium Helicopters, we have afterwards also these helicopters in stock. So they are here.
Yeah.
There is not 1, 2, 3
I mean, that's a big deal.
interface in between.
Just in case the listeners aren't understanding exactly what you're meaning by 1, 2, 3, in aviation deals, it's very not uncommon to have to feed a lot of mouths.
Yeah.
And essentially, it's a game that happens. It happened to me early on when I was learning. Now I don't play that game, right? It's you can see the writing on the wall, right? Certain deals, even certain places around the world seem to always have consistently those type of deals.
Yeah.
Where it's almost like kind of an old mafia thing, where it's like you have to pay off this person and pay off this person and pay off this person. And so what Danny is saying is that Swiss Premium is owning these helicopters. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's
and
correct.
so, yeah, they're brokering. You're brokering the aircraft. You're selling the aircraft, but you're actually owning the aircraft as well. And that really minimizes the complexity of a used helicopter
Absolutely.
transaction. And it's almost like you get the benefit of working directly with the owner, but you get also to work with a broker that knows how to structure a deal.
Yeah.
And that's, from my side as, say, a helicopter buyer, that's a deal that I want to do all day, right? That deal it's easy. If there's issues, hey, we don't like this about the helicopter, I don't have to talk to you, then you talk to him.
That's right.
Right? It's just, I'm talking to the owners, and we work it out. It's easy. It takes the emotion out of it. So it's... I just wanted to clarify that to make sure that our listeners understand what that really means and why that's important within this industry, because it's essentially one of the most transparent ways to be able to sell an aircraft or buy an aircraft.
I think it's really to be the single point of contact for all issues turning around to buy a helicopter is complex.
Extremely.
A lot of things to consider, and having a single point of contact with us, and helicopter can come, you can see, it's available, you can touch it. It's key. Sometimes I agree, if you have 2 or 3 interactors in between, it can also go good if you know them. If you know them, and if you have your network, if it's clear.
If it's clear.
So
sometimes it's people try to hide things, and it's not clear, and that's when it's like crap. You know, and
absolutely.
actually, kudos to Pacific Arab. Like the last deal I did with Dan, the 135 deal out of Sydney. Look, that was a very transparent deal. It wasn't not complicated.
Oh yeah, no.
There was some complications regarding your guys' commission and our commit. Like there are some complexities, but it wasn't like we're gonna sit over here and not say anything.
Yeah.
And you guys are gonna sit over there and not say anything, and then it's gonna blow up.
Yeah.
And then the deal dies.
Yeah.
The very first conversations is, here's the situation.
Yeah. Just
How
be
do you want-
transparent.
How
man.
do you
This
want to
is-
work?
Absolutely.
How do you want to work it?
Honestly, always, because otherwise it will come back and bite you. I guarantee it.
I mean, we have you guys. The agreement that we signed with you was a back-to-back agreement. It was literally in writing.
Yeah.
Like who does that?
Yeah.
No one else.
Yeah.
So I appreciate the trend. It's very important because I think a lot of buyers that maybe don't understand. Because one thing that we try to push is helping buyers, right? We want to sell helicopters, sell a copter, go figure. But we actually have built a large business, and that's how we really work with you guys a lot on buying, helping people buy. And like you said, it's complicated, it's complex. The machine itself is complex, and so there's that level. But then just the complexity of all the people that might or could be willing to take advantage of you as a buyer makes things very complicated. So if you're listening and you're like, hey, I want to buy a helicopter, I'm thinking of buying a helicopter, you have to get the right team. You have to have the right people that are willing to go to bat for you, willing to be transparent with you. Our business does that. Pacific Air Hub does that. Swiss Premium does that. And this is not a shameless plug for any of us. This is just the honest truth of 2 companies that do very similar things, but do it the right way. And that's the greatest similarity between us. So that's cool.
Thank you to our sponsor, Metro Aviation. Metro Aviation, the world's largest family-owned air medical operator, offers comprehensive aircraft services with 140 plus aircraft in over 25 states. The Completion Center installs medical and law enforcement kits and avionics, serving diverse aviation needs including offshore, utility, VIP, and corporate sectors.
I want to say our motto is that, it's much easier to have and maintain 20 or 30 customers and they come back.
Yeah.
Because
it's all about repeat.
Because we're not selling Coca-Cola here, it's very complex, it's specialized, it's different time zones, it's some of the strangest locations in the world sometimes where you are, and it's the logistics. So if it goes south, everybody can lose a lot of money, right? Because you've got input costs there. And much rather have a few customers that come back all the time, than you got these. We've all been there. I want to say, let's call it briefcase brokers who just start up, and it's just one guy working out of his mom's basement.
I call them basement brokers.
Yeah, basement broker. I was just about to say, working out of his mom's basement, and nothing wrong with that, and all the good luck and success to those guys, because that we probably all start there, but take something with you and be honorable. Do not lie.
Don't do the. How many times are you guys seeing your aircraft listed online?
Oh yeah,
by someone else, right?
By some colleagues of ours in Nigeria.
I have a couple colleagues in Nigeria.
Oh,
the Nigerian prince.
Man,
it's and that's the world, right? It's just a crappy place sometimes. But within the crappiness, there's great, right? I mean, I would say this industry is special. The thing that I love about doing what I do is the people that I get to work with, not just on the broker side, but also the clients. I mean, the clients are really doing really cool things. And I think actually brokers like us and service providers and MROs, we play such a vital role in the heartbeat of this because we're the ones that are helping
We're enablers, eh?
move aircraft, and it's really like we call it connecting dots. Because sometimes we have sellers that don't even know that they're sellers, right? Until, oh man, well, I know Cornell really wants this, and I know that you guys want to get this because it's going to help your operation and what your guys are doing. And so it's nice to be able to connect those dots, and I think that that's kind of the role that we play. And I think it's extremely important. I think that we're helping owners, operators achieve their business goals. We're helping private owners achieve their dreams, filling that addiction, that virus of wanting to fly. So I think it's sometimes underappreciated. It feels like, but your clients who truly understand and get it, they have tremendous gratitude for the complexity.
Absolutely.
Especially when we start talking about international, right? Because there's complexities to the international side of it. Especially coming into the United States, it's like the FAA. It just has to be different. We can operate an aircraft in Canada, no problem, but we can't accept EASA STCs, if they're not familiarized and all this confusing things. So, that complexity, again, when you're dealing with professionals, they can guide you through that process. There's a lot of money on the line. The last thing that you want to do is buy an aircraft from Switzerland only to find out you can't fly it in the United States.
Absolutely.
Right?
That's true.
So you need the right team. And it seems like you guys have, and I know this from personal experience, you guys have really created that team. So Swiss Premium is news to me. I didn't know that you guys were doing that. I found out this week at the show. And I'm not sure I fully grasped the concept just because I haven't had a chance to really catch up yet. I've been sitting here at this table all week. So I'm excited to have this opportunity to learn more about, hey, look, I know what Pacific Air Hub is, and I know what that business does very well. But just kind of make sure I better understand Swiss Premium.
So,
first it's black and white.
Yeah, it's black and white. So
this is kind of like Pacific Air Hub right here.
This is Pacific Air Hub, and this black and white is Swiss Premium. So, basically very, very easy. With Danny's huge business in Switzerland, the Centaurium Group, which is the Bell IR and huge maintenance facilities. And
how long have you been in business there?
With the MRO, we started 2 years ago, but we took over a lot of activities of also governmental MRO functions, so we grew quite fast.
Very fast.
And we appreciated that we could take over all the clients of these facilities. So it was huge step for us.
What I call yesterday, Dangerous Danny.
Dangerous Danny.
Danny. I can't wait to get Dallas next year. Get him a buckle, Dangerous Danny, and a big station.
Texas with a big old 10-gallon bucket.
That's what we're gonna. That's what we're gonna get, Dangerous Danny.
I interrupted, but I was just curious. So large connection, large MRO.
Yeah. So basically, obviously, with what we do at Pacific, I mean, after me and Danny did that transaction together on the 4 helicopters, we just clicked. I mean, it's transparent. If he says it's green, it's green. If he says it's blue, it's blue, and it just works. There's 100% trust, which enables us to make decisions fast. I think that's very important in our business. We can't loiter on making a decision. We need now.
You got it.
Important.
And then so we said, all right. It was a need for me in Pacific to get to Europe because 90% of my transactions is in Europe, and we then said, all right, let's start Swiss Premium. And the idea with Swiss Premium is that you could basically say it's like a product if you blend Centaurium's capabilities and Pacific together, but
that's the baby.
But we keeping this very focused on premium, right? So the offering is, let's compare it to Airbus's ACH line, okay? So Pacific Airub will handle all other helicopters within the world of the sales, but the premium line is the VIP aircraft, the new helicopters that are all on programs, all of that stuff. So it's a very bespoke line. We're fortunate that we can own all the machines that we have on offer at the moment. And the idea there is that we can, doesn't matter where we buy an aircraft from, we put it through the MRO and it comes out squeaky clean.
Yeah, it's nice.
Squeaky
It's
clean,
really nice.
and we put what we call our Swissness stamp on it.
Your Swissness.
Yeah, so if you
Swiss
come
knife.
to us,
I like that.
Yeah, if you come to us, you got the documents
Stamp.
are in the best shape. It's perfect. The quality of the aircraft. You can almost, but with your help, you can almost just buy it off the shelf because you know what you're getting. It's premium. And Danny was instrumental in it because there's a guarantee that that comes from us.
Sure.
With it. And nobody offers that.
It's easy. It starts. You know it. You buy a helicopter. You check all the specs, all the maintenance logs. All good. Helicopter looks great. Delivery, great. And by the way, here are the documents. And then you get 4 or 5 boxes, banana boxes of loose paper, bad-shaped folders.
Oil stained.
Yeah. So that we know. We
We're-
all know.
We're not,
we all know.
We're not joking.
We
by
all
the
know
way,
this.
this is a serious.
This is, and
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
these are small added values.
It's huge, though. It's
We
to me.
digitalize all
You have
papers.
to.
We put it in proper folders. That's it. In proper cases.
Digitize everything.
It's almost like it's sad that this is innovative.
Yeah, yeah. It's really sad, but
Yeah.
it's never done.
You
It's
know,
never done.
I sometimes wonder because Helicopter, our goal has always been this systematic approach, right? We've wanted to create a system. I'm a pilot. I like to use a checklist, right?
Yeah.
Real estate is a system, right? How come the system doesn't exist?
I tell you why. Because
I was boggled.
Yeah.
I got into it like,
Yeah.
hold on, am I really one of the only ones that wants to do it this way?
Yeah.
Digitalized logs?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
Yeah. But why would nobody else do it? Because it's time and money, and it's a hell lot of effort, and everybody's out for a quick buck.
I was gonna say because they don't care.
Yeah, they don't care.
They don't-
Yeah,
they-
So
There's a difference in making money, and there's a difference in making money and caring.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's who I am, and that's who I want to do business with.
Sure.
Right? Because that's the right way to do business. I might make a little less because there's more time invested, there's more money invested, there's resources invested. But if I do that one right thing,
Yeah.
or all those right things for that one person, like you said,
your name's getting out of
they
there.
keep coming back.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that's what this business is about. I couldn't agree more with what you said earlier. It's like so many of my clients, we call it gateway drugs, right? So they get a 44,
Yeah.
right? I don't know how it is in Europe, and that's something we could talk about actually, but insurance is very difficult in the United States, specifically with private owners that have no experience. So they don't really have an option. I have a lot of guys that call and say, I want to buy a 407. And if I was in it for a quick buck, I would sell the 407, and then they figure out they can't fly it,
Yeah.
right? Because they can't get underwriting. It's never going to be insured. So we give them the pathway. Hey, we're going to start you in the 44.
And that's your niche, man.
And
What you're doing is brilliant.
And they catch they love it.
Yeah.
And then they get in the 66.
Yeah.
And then they get in a 505 or a 407 or an A-star. And it's a long cycle, 6-7 years.
Oh, yeah.
But
Guide
it's
them
just-
through their aviation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pathway, yeah,
Help them
absolutely.
with their maintenance. Do things for them. Make
Yeah.
sure that, hey, I'm going to sell your helicopter, so let's make sure we're taking care of it properly
Yeah.
while you own it.
Yeah.
Right? Just giving them those tidbits. So
Yeah.
it doesn't seem difficult, but it's
effort.
it's not done.
Yeah.
And you look around here at the show, there's some bigger names, right, that do what we do. And arguably, I don't think they do, to be honest, right? So I think that You know, when you're considering brokerage, don't always just assume the big name, right? And you guys, not saying that you're not a big name, you guys are really creating a big name for yourselves. And I'm sure that Swiss Premium, especially in the European market's going to launch. I don't consider myself a big name at all. We're very small, and I know that. I like being that. You know, that's what keeps us nimble, quick, and keeps us customer focused. And I think that that's the difference, right? I think sometimes these bigger brands can grow out of their britches a little bit.
I think the punchline you want is a small name but big reputation.
Yeah, it's huge.
You know?
No, it's 100%.
So we're really not looking for the quick deal. We are looking for the quality deal.
Yeah, and that's the investment.
That's the investment.
His number one thing is we only have our name to lose.
Yeah.
You know?
That's it. And that's why today, with all the digitalization and internet, the aviation world at the end is small.
Takes one bad deal and you
it's
can
known
really
worldwide.
Yeah.
And it's bad.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's a fear because sometimes too everything can be right. Everything can be right, and you can still have people wanting to throw rocks at each other
that
at
will
the end
always
of the
happen.
deal, right?
That will always happen.
And so it's a fine line. European sales market. Admittedly, we haven't done a bunch of work this year together because one reason why I used to personally go and say to go to Europe or South Africa or Australia or New Zealand was because I was finding better deals.
Yeah.
And I had clients that were willing to trust me to know that, hey, this is safe. We can go to South Africa and buy an aircraft. Or we can go to Switzerland or New Zealand.
Yeah.
We can do this. And by the way, yes, you have to be patient. Yes, you're going to pay for shipping. There's going to be other costs. But when we wrap that all in, you're still getting a better deal.
Oh, yeah.
So that's where it was. Now, this year, I haven't been able to find those same deals. And so our global reach has really slowed down this year. And it's affected our business, right? I think some of our goals we may or may not hit this year. And I think a big part of that is because we do rely on a segment of our business coming from international markets.
Yeah.
Not Canada. Canada doesn't count. It's easy for us. And we do international deals out of Canada quite a bit.
Long range.
Yeah, exactly. But, speaking of Europe and things, so are you guys seeing the market change here? Is this a global economy issue that things are all just becoming a little bit more expensive right now? Have you guys had the movement or slower movement going, say, internationally to the United States?
Thank you to our sponsor, Precision Aviation Group. Mission-critical operators and fleet managers rely on Precision Aviation Group as a worldwide leading rotor and fixed-wing MRO provider. PAG provides tip-to-tail solutions in 4 MRO segments: avionics, components, engines, and manufacturing DER services. A single point of contact gives you access to over 150 million in inventory globally, 24/7. Just call 800-537-2778. Precision Aviation Group. Others sell parts. We sell support.
I think from our side, you going to the US has, I think, slowed down a bit. South America seems to be warming up nicely from all over the world to South America.
South America is always...
Yeah, there are also fluctuations.
It's always kind of like... There's been times where I'm like, this is it.
Yeah.
Like, this is going to be a long road. And then it's like, okay, nope.
Yeah, it changes quickly. I also think that the outcome of the U.S. elections we're turning a corner. I think a lot of people were very skeptical about what not to spend the money, rather hold the cash and see where we're going.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
And, after...
Age old. I mean, that's...
Yeah.
Look, this was a big election.
Yeah.
But as I've reminded my friends, I remember when I was 5, looking at that helicopter and hearing my parents talk about the election that was coming up. It was a consequential election. It's always that way.
Yeah.
And it just seems and feels bigger, to be honest, because it's been such crap.
Yeah.
Right? This last 4 years have been difficult.
Yeah.
And look, there's a lot of factors that play in. So I'm not here to be overly political about this or that. But man, if I had a nickel for every client in the last 6 months that has told me they're going to hold off until November 2nd, then I would have a lot of nickels.
Yeah.
And I mean, we spoke about it this morning. I heard on the news they said that New York Stock Exchange had, I think, the best.
It's up to up 1,300
Yeah.
points or something.
Like one day after the results.
Well,
I mean,
and the biggest thing
you're going to
too
see
is,
stuff happening, man.
And I think that just ideology-wise, and look, I'm not a political expert, so be easy on me on social media.
Yeah.
I'm just giving what I've been told and what I see. I could be wrong, and if you want to be a keyboard hero, you can. But essentially, I think a big part of it is businesses like the idea of President Trump, because when he was president before, he really actually did a lot of things specifically about deregulating.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I never really thought about that, to be honest. I never realized, specifically until I owned my own business, just some of the bureaucraticness and the red tape involved in being able to run a business. It's like they want the economy to be stimulated, so you need to have business, but then they're going to put hurdle after hurdle after hurdle, whether it's regulations for taxes, if it's regulations for environmental concerns, regulations about this, regulations about that, regulations. And so he actually cut so much of those regulations, and I think that helps big businesses.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
it will.
he had that. I'm not a U.S. tax expert by any means, but he had that tax ruling where you could write off, I think, 100%
depreciation.
And then the next,
it's changed now.
Yeah.
So now we can only do, and it's going to keep going down. It was 100%. Now I think it's 80 and 60 and so on.
we done many deals on that deadline because guys like,
we
need to get these helicopters in.
Last year was the last year, I think,
Yeah.
and so it was very busy.
Get them in because you get the 100%
You
tax
get the-
credits. You know?
it was a big. So I think when the big businesses are doing well, I think we all benefit from that.
Absolutely.
And I think the world economy will hopefully, the problem with Trump is the noise, right? Because then Trump also creates all this distraction. And so that's always kind of annoying. And I just hope that doesn't get in the way of allowing us to have a good global economy.
Let me tell you, I was actually speaking to my dad about this morning because you see what's happening on the news. You think maybe I can talk about it because you're American.
But just tread lightly.
Yeah,
This is a non-political show.
Yeah, no. But if you see who was now freaking out about the results, okay, and the winning side, all of a sudden you've got this rally day at the New York Stock Exchange. Why is that? It's because those guys who make it happen are out there making it happen, and the guys who don't know what they're talking about are making the noise. You know what I'm saying? So the point is,
it's 100%.
everybody can make the noise, but you and I, we're on the ground. We see what's happening, and we will still be able to make it happen because we're there. We're not
100%.
We're not in the media looking at the noise the guys are making because it's not factual.
It's just noise.
It's just noise.
It's just noise, and I do. I think we'll see some changes, and I think a lot of small businesses like mine and medium businesses, I think that they're feeling maybe a little more optimism.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We talked about it earlier in not this show, but just the show that we're here at. It's been a tricky year, right?
It's been a tough
This last
year.
couple of years, actually, I feel like I'm fighting harder, but I'm not necessarily doing better all the time. And I'm all about goal setting. We strategically plan. We budget. We forecast. It's very important for me to hit those goals, both financially and mentally, right?
Measure growth that way.
And growth is important. And we've been able to show consistent growth ever since I started this business. And now this year comes along where I should really see great and tremendous growth because we've grown our team, we've grown our strategy. There's other factors. We actually brought on more team members. We put more resources into training, and then more resources into mentoring and allowing because we would just bring guys on in the past. They wouldn't last. We didn't do a good job at teaching them and helping them. And so I think that's part of it, but I think there's an economic thing. I hear it all the time, right? I hear it literally on every phone call. I'm going to see what happens. So, there's optimism, and I'm excited. This year's been tricky. It hasn't been a bad year, but it's just been a tricky year. And for small businesses, you just have to continue to navigate the complexities of the big world, and it can be very difficult. So, I'm very excited for you guys.
Thank you.
We got to do some more deals. We got to figure out a way to make it happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
The U.S. is a big market, right?
Yeah.
And so, we
we'll
got
prep and polish all of them up, and you can just all send
That's
them
perfect.
there because what you offer for your US based clients, I think is a niche. Not letting a buyer just go and say, oh, I think I need this.
yeah.
And also you're gonna get a machine from like Africa or Scandinavia. Like, where is that? Half the guys like. There's a perception.
Africa.
Yeah, there's a perception that in Africa we park the helicopters under a big baobab tree. You know?
Well, it's funny too, actually, and especially Americans. We're prideful. We're prideful, and look. In my opinion, the United States is a great country.
Yeah,
I love
absolutely.
the USA.
Yeah.
And I think for many, many years, I think the USA was recognized as the country. I think we've lost our way a little bit. But what we haven't lost is our pride in this idea that everything that we do is better. And it's actually not the truth when it comes to aviation. And I said this on a podcast yesterday or the day before. We don't do the best maintenance because we're not regulated to do the best maintenance, specifically on the private owner side. If it's a Part 91 helicopter, do a 12-month annual. That's all you got to do.
Yeah.
Right? You're not doing any of the, well, you should be, but most aren't doing any of the interval maintenance and things like that. So I get clients and I'll say, hey, I'm going to buy a 407 out of Guatemala. And they're like, I don't know if I want to do that. I'm like, you do. They do a good job.
Trust me. You want to.
Look, we'll go and do the proper due diligence, and we're going to make sure it's, everything checks out.
Yeah.
But it's a good machine. Or, hey, we're going to go to South Africa.
Yeah.
Again, that's a scary sounding proposition. I remember the first time I talked to Nico, I'm like, fuck, it's a good deal.
Yeah.
But do I want to do that?
Yeah.
Really? And I kind of dragged the deal for like a week because I was in my head kind of going back and forth of like, should I? Should I? And I'm glad I did.
Yeah.
Nico's a stellar dude.
Yeah.
And everything that Nico said he was going to do, he did.
Yeah.
And that's what I like. And that's what's important to me.
Yeah.
And so, I think it's great. I think being, again, competitors is one thing, but people that can work together
Just collaborate.
and we can
It's about
collaborate.
trust and relationship.
Yeah.
That's
That's
what
it.
it's about. And
Because-
then, who wins?
All of us.
Oh,
We all win,
Yeah.
and the client wins.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
If I have a client that needs a beautiful Bell 505 and they want great maintenance, they want great historic records,
Yep.
and I know I can call you guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, because that's the product that you're producing. So, congratulations and kudos to you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You guys are on a trajectory that's awesome. I love seeing it.
Thank
when
you.
you guys are doing well, we're doing well. So it's all good. I'm excited to continue to work with you guys. To our listeners, thank you. This is an interesting
Thank you.
podcast. We're not boxing. We're not punching each other. Danny started off hot though. I mean, he came in right away. Number one brokerage.
Yeah.
But hey,
And Swiss is always neutral. So
not today.
Dangerous Danny.
yeah.
Dangerous Danny coming in. Don't forget whose podcast. No, I'm kidding. But it's been an absolute pleasure. And again, I think this is the magic of the podcast. Look,
Yeah.
this is a way. This is a niche industry, right? So our numbers are niche, right? But we get to appeal to the people that we serve, and I think it's so cool. And so many of my listeners don't actually really even know what I do,
Yeah.
right? And so it's fun to be able to have these conversations
Yeah.
because these podcasts, I feel like this is something I contribute to. I mean,
Yeah.
this is
Yeah,
actually my real life.
Yeah, you add value.
Is what we're talking about today. So it's so fun. To MHM Publishing, thank you so much for allowing the HeliCASTS platform to exist. You had mentioned Bell Helicopters earlier. Thank you to Bell Helicopters. They're a proud sponsor of the Helicopter Podcast. So,
Oh, cool.
I really appreciate that relationship. Without our sponsors like Bell, again, we couldn't do what we're doing, like traveling halfway around the world to have these amazing conversations. So thank you to our sponsors. Thank you to our listeners. Gentlemen, thanks for
Thank
joining
you
the
very much.
HeliCOPTER podcast.
Thanks for having
so
us.
fun. Thanks,
Pleasure.
Danny.
Thank
It
you.
was great.
Thanks, Cornell.
Thanks, Halsey.
Awesome job.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks to our sponsor, Airbus. Airbus provides the most efficient helicopter solutions to its customers who serve, protect, and save lives and safely carry passengers in demanding environments. Its civil and military helicopters are flying all over the world, making missions possible. Visit airbus.com for more information.
Thank you to our sponsor, Metro Aviation. Metro Aviation, the world's largest family-owned aeromedical operator, offers comprehensive aircraft services with 140 plus aircraft in over 25 states. The Completion Center installs medical and law enforcement kits and avionics, serving diverse aviation needs including offshore, utility, VIP, and corporate sectors.
Thank you to our sponsor, Precision Aviation Group. Mission-critical operators and fleet managers rely on Precision Aviation Group as a worldwide leading rotor and fixed-wing MRO provider. PAG provides tip-to-tail solutions in 4 MRO segments: avionics, components, engines, and manufacturing DER services. A single point of contact gives you access to over 150 million in inventory globally, 24/7. Just call 800-537-2778. Precision Aviation Group. Others sell parts. We sell support.